I'm Harry Slutter, owner of Urban Hardwoods. Today's seminar is on chair building. Today we have Reed Handsuld. He's a chair builder who went to the school for the Center of Furniture Craftsmanship in Maine. We're going to cover chair building from concept, design, form building, laminations, joinery, and practical application. In the design aspect, Reed will cover strength, comfort, and aesthetics, the three most important things in chair building. Come along with us and enjoy it.
One of the things that most common people say to me who are woodworkers is, I've always wanted to build a chair. And it's sort of is always this daunting, overwhelming idea, and it doesn't really have to be. There's certain ways that you can kind of simplify chair construction, and there's a lot of ways that you can just sort of jump into it, and you don't necessarily need to be an amazing woodworker or spend days or weeks or years trying to build it. So what these handouts sort of go through, and what we're going to just sort of break down really quickly here, is the main heights and angles for making a chair. And what I would recommend is that for your first chair, you go with a dining chair. A dining chair is a little bit more simple than, say, a lounge chair or a rocking chair. You typically don't need armrests, which I've always found are tend to be a little bit tricky to resolve, as well as it's just more components, more parts. Okay, so side view of your typical dining chair. Your seat height here is typically 16 to 18 inches. This is a really important dimension right here. The next one, which is very similar, is the depth. And I believe the typical depth sort of 16 inches. Lumbar support is usually around 7 to 8 inches. This can vary again a little bit on heights of different people. The next sort of really critical dimension would be, or part to look at with this, would be the angles. So for dining chairs, I believe it's 0 to 5 degree slope is usually what we're going for, from the front to the back. And then your included angle, which is the angle from the seat to the back here. And that ranges usually around 95 degrees is good for seating, but you can go up as high as 100, 105. Let's say I have a 100-degree angle right here, right? But it feels a little too upright, and you aren't quite sure how you can adjust that or how much you should adjust that. Well, you can cut a little bit off the back legs, and you'll start sloping the chair back more and more. Now, how do you sort of check that before you just start hacking away and go too far? Is you can take like a piece of 1/2-inch MDF or plywood, and you can put it under the front legs, and you can sit on it. See how it feels. Add another 1/4-inch shim. Add another 1/4-inch shim. Get to the point where it feels too much, and then bring it back a little bit. And another, let's say that your angles feel pretty good, but you just feel too high up. The other thing you can do is you can just put blocks underneath your feet. So you can say put 1 inch or 1.5 inches of blocks under just your feet while you're sitting down until you get to that point where you're like, okay. So if I were to say that there's 3 main elements that make up a really successful dining chair, what are some ideas on what those could be? Comfort's one of them, arguably the most important one. Strength, usually the second most important one. Yeah, aesthetic, which is arguably on the end of the list, but at the same time, that's how you interact with the chair first, is by seeing it. So if the chair doesn't look welcoming, if it doesn't look like it'd be strong enough or comfortable to sit in, likely the aesthetic is not super successful. For comfort, there's things like upholstery. That's saying. The dimensions, which we talked about already, so making sure your chair is the right height, it's got the right angles, it's got the right included angle. This is all very, very important to the comfort. The last one, and sort of truly important one that usually gets overlooked with the comfort, is the lumbar. Main components of strength is, of course, your joinery. Mostly mortise and tenons, double mortise and tenons, triple mortise and tenons, as well as like anywhere you can get a real fastener in there, like a mechanical fastener, a bolt, nut and bolt, or a screw, believe it or not. Same with Lou. Most of his chairs were drywall screwed together. Triangulation. Which ultimately kind of just leads into design. Design of a chair that will be strong. And then aesthetic, mostly that's just about being conscious of the period or the style you're trying to build in. So if you have, say like a Windsor style chair not having square tapered legs, or if you have you know, a shaker chair, or like just trying not to like combine elements too much, like an Art Deco piece with a bunch of high gloss ebony that then has like these, you know, legs with all these beads and coves on it, like that. You're kind of crossing two different times in furniture making. You're crossing over two different, totally different aesthetics and styles. Okay, so this is the first dining chair I made, arguably the most complicated dining chair I've ever made. Those back legs are both double tapered laminations. I've done them through lamination, I've done them through steam bending, I've done them through steam bent laminations, and we will look at that more later. They're also twisted, so as each of these legs comes up, in order to get the right angles for the curve of the crest rail, both of those legs have to twist. This here is where I started to actually figure out how to make a dining chair for real. What makes this chair so smart is that all of the joinery is at 90 degrees, which I can't stress how important this is. So even though, you know, these legs are curving this way and they're curving this way, and these front legs are curving this way and this way, every joint in this chair is 90 degrees by 90 degrees. Same with these front, like this is a 90-degree joint. You can see where that was a straight block that just had two curves cut into it. It's the only way for me I found you can really, at least at that stage, I could make any money building chairs, was keeping your construction 90 by 90.